Hi, this is Andrew with Mock 2 Drop, and in this video I'm going to discuss some helpful tips you may want to consider right before and during the CFA Level 1 exam. So we're a little over 2 weeks away from the December 2019 Level 1 exam, and you're probably in the middle of doing mock exams right now. You should have also received your exam admission ticket at this point. I'm going to talk about some tips regarding that since there's a lot of information provided on that ticket, as well as some helpful tips to consider while you're taking the exam. And if you haven't already, please be sure to click on that subscribe button below and hit that bell notification so you can stay up to date with our latest videos. So one of the most important parts of the exam admission ticket is a section with your name, passport number, and expiration date, because this must match what is on your passport. Otherwise, you won't be allowed to sit for the exam. This also means that if you have a middle name on your passport, it must also be included on your ticket. Now, it's okay if the name is all capitalized on your passport, but only the first letters of your name are capitalized on your ticket. The CFA Institute indicates that your passport number and your expiration date can be updated through your account page. However, if you determine that your name needs to be changed on your ticket, you'll need to submit a name identification change form. The CFA Institute states that it can take up to 5 business days to get this process, and possibly even longer during peak exam periods. So it's really important to check all this as soon as you receive your exam ticket. And I've provided a link for the name change form below this video in case you need it. So as you may already know, the CFA Institute allows you to use 2 types of calculators for the exam, the Texas Instrument BA2 Plus and the Hewlett-Packard 12C. They also mentioned that you can have a calculator battery and a screwdriver during your exam. Although it's highly unlikely that you'll have any issues with your calculator battery or the calculator in general, especially if it's brand new. I can't speak for the 12C calculator, but in my experience, the BA2 Plus is a pretty reliable calculator as long as you replace the battery once a year while you're in the program. You shouldn't have any issues on exam day. But if you have any concerns or just want peace of mind, bring your extra battery and a screwdriver. Although you may want to test it out the day prior just so you're familiar with the process of taking it apart and installing a new battery. However, my personal preference would be to bring a second calculator. If money's not a concern, having that second calculator is a much easier option than taking your calculator apart during the exam. So there's a couple of things to consider when it comes to your exam location. One is how long it's going to take for you to get to your exam test center the morning of the exam. And the other is, where can you get something to eat before the exam and during your lunch break. Now, if you have any concerns about getting to your exam in the morning, one thing you can consider, if feasible, is just getting a hotel room, preferably within walking distance of your exam location. Maybe find one that serves a decent breakfast or is located at a place that serves breakfast. And if you drive your vehicle to the hotel and you don't plan to drive to the test center, just be sure the hotel will let you keep it parked there for most of the day, since you won't be leaving the exam till probably well after checkout. And then it might be helpful to scope out the local area prior to the exam day just to see where you might want to go for lunch. That way you're not spending extra time looking for a place to eat and feeling rushed. Personally, I would just bring my lunch, even if I have to bring a little cooler. That way you can just relax and not have to stress about rushing to eat or hurrying to get back on time. So the key takeaway from this is just to have a plan in place so that the morning of your exam or during your break, you don't have to do much thinking or worrying about these little things. You can just focus on the exam itself. So now that we've gone over some tips to consider before your exam, I'm going to go over some tips to consider while you're taking your exam. So as you're taking your exam, you may want to consider categorizing each question into 3 different types of groups. The first type of questions are those that you feel confident that you know the answer. We'll call these Group A questions. The second type are going to be questions that you could figure them out, but it's not quite coming to you at the moment. We'll call these Group B questions. And then the last type are those in which you just have no idea what the answer is, and you could even narrow it down to even 2 answer choices. We'll call these Group C. So as you start answering each question on the exam, you want to label those that you feel are Group B and Group C type questions. Don't worry about marking the Group A questions. You'll just know that those questions are the ones with no markings. So now Group B questions are going to be our main focus because those are the ones that you have a better chance of figuring out than Group C. So I'd recommend making a more prominent marking for those type of questions, such as a large circle around the question number in your test booklet, for example. And then for Group C questions, just make a much smaller circle. Now the important thing is to answer every single question as you're initially going through them, including Group C questions. Even if you have to guess, choose some answer choice. Just don't skip any questions. Last thing you want to have happen is hear the word "stop writing now" and you had skipped over a question hoping to go back to it and you just forgot or you ran out of time to do so. Now, once you've answered every question in your exam and categorized the Group B and Group C questions, assuming you have enough time remaining, I'd recommend taking a break. At least ask the proctor if you can get some water or just stretch your legs. Plus, it can help give your mind a chance to reset before you review those Group B questions. So after you get back from your break, here's how I would tackle the review of those Group B questions. I wouldn't recommend making any changes to your answer choice unless you're confident that the new answer choice is the better option. And I would think about this like reviewing a play in a professional sports game. Unless there's enough evidence to overturn the play, the original play will stand. So I would treat changing any answers on your exam in a similar fashion. Now, once you answered all your Group B questions, assuming you have more time remaining, I would actually recommend skimming through the Group A questions first before your Group C questions. And the reason for this is because you may come across a question that you overlooked, and going through the question the second time may help you see that. But then again, I would only make a change to these questions the same way that I mentioned for Group B. And now that you reviewed Group A and Group B questions, if you have still have time remaining, you can review those Group C questions in the same way. And whether you decide to implement these tips or not, you should always do what makes you the most comfortable when reviewing the questions in the exam, especially when changing your answer. Okay, if you got some value from this video, please give it a like. Also, I provided some useful links at the bottom of this video. And if you have any questions about these tips or just want to leave a comment, please do so below. Thanks for watching and good luck with your exam.